The first trade of the offseason is here in the middle of the finals. We got Desmond Bane going to Orlando for 4 first-round picks, a pick swap, Cole Anthony and KCP. I mean, when you look at this trade, you get a shooter that you just desperately needed in Orlando. You get Desmond Bane, who's shooting 40% from 3, 20 points per game, can find his own shot, can play off the ball as well. And with Paulo and Franz being able to facilitate the ball really well, it's going to fit in perfectly for Orlando's offense. And it's just going to be better fit rather than KCP, in my opinion, because, again, Desmond Bane can play off the ball and on the ball, can find his own shot. And it's just a really good trade for Orlando as they finally get that third star. Been looking through Orlando's perspective. You got Desmond Bane, a guy who could help right away with their three-point shooting, which we were last in last year. And with the East looking so injured, we don't know what's going to happen with Embiid. Giannis maybe wanting out. Tatum tearing his Achilles. New York Knicks firing their head coach. Cat maybe wanting out or looking for a trade for Cat. And Cleveland even too. Darius Garland getting injured. Jarrett Allen not playing his greatest, and they have to re-sign Ty Jerome in the offseason. Maybe not having enough money for that will also hurt them, but looking at it, this is a huge opportunity for Orlando, and they could really make some noise next year in the playoffs, as maybe even going to the finals. Their only competition, in my opinion, next year really has to do with probably whatever Boston does, depending on what they do. Maybe if they do some big moves, maybe they'll be a competitor, but right now Tatum's injured and they're not big of a threat right now. You look at Cleveland, yes, they won 60 plus games this season, but in the playoffs they didn't really do that great. So when I'm looking at it, it's down to Indiana and New York, and those two teams, yes, Indiana's in the finals right now, but when I look at this Orlando Magic team now, they're a couple pieces away from making a real push in the playoffs and maybe even making the finals. And not to mention, Giannis being on the move is really going to hurt the Bucks. I mean, again, Damian Lillard having an Achilles injury is really going to hurt the Bucks as well, because now you got only 2-3 teams in the Eastern Conference that will be taken seriously as a huge finals competitor. But when you look at it inside out, I mean, Orlando's the most complete team with Indiana and maybe even New York, depending on what they do as well. But overall, it was a great trade for Orlando. I mean, you got a guy that could shoot the three in Desmond Bane at a high clip and 40%. He can move off the ball and on the ball again. But yeah, I mean, great trip for Orlando. Excited to see what happens in the next couple months, and we'll see what happens next season. When we're looking at Memphis' perspective, I think this is also a good trade for them, because they got 4 unprotected first-round picks for Desmond Bane, which I thought was a steal. And those picks offer so much, because you got the 16th pick for this year's draft, which is a very good draft class, and you have another pick in 2026, which is the Suns pick. I mean, that Suns pick might convert to either the 5th, 3rd, even 1st overall pick, which is really good for Memphis, as they really need another guy beside Ja and Triple J. And if they could get that pick to convert to a really high pick, their future is going to be really bright. Even this year's pick too, if they can hit on this one too, it would be really good for them. And I'm excited to see what moves they make. I mean, that 2028 and 2030 unprotected first round pick that they also got from Orlando will also be tough to look at, because they could either keep those picks or they could use that towards the retooling, which I believe they might be doing. Because with Ja and Triple J, uncertainty whether they're going to get traded or not, it was a really good trade for Memphis, as their 5 years with Triple J, Desmond Bane, and John Morant really wasn't working out. I mean, if you look at it, they only made the second round, was their peak, but other than that, it was really good. again, really good trade for Memphis, and excited to see what they do to keep those picks or to trade them. Also, something about Memphis is those other pieces that they got in the trade, KCP and Cole Anthony. KCP, I think it's an expiring deal next year, the season after, so you have to look at that. And also Cole Anthony, they might trade right away, maybe in the offseason or at the draft, because they already have Ja and Scottie Pippen Jr., so they don't really need another guard. So they might be able to trade him also, and that frees up a lot of cap, even though I don't think anyone prefers Memphis destination as their top priority, but freeing up some cap space for Memphis is big, and getting rid of that big contract in Desmond Bane, which they really didn't need him right now in the second, because they're not really a championship contending team as we saw this year and the last year and the year before that. And getting rid of that Desmond Bane contract makes up for a little breathing room in the cap space, and now they get to pick and choose whether they want to rebuild or retool. I mean, again, for Orlando, getting that 3-point shooters, amazing and all, but most importantly, getting a third option, scoring is important as well, as in the playoffs at some point in Cleveland series from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and the Boston series that just passed, they're missing another guy that can just get the ball and score the ball really easily, whether that's off the ball or on the ball. And it's important to get those kind of people in the playoffs, because having Franz Apollo is good, but you need that third star as well to get you some buckets when you need it. I mean, just look at last year's Celtics who won the championship. Yes, they had Tatum and Brown, but Derek White was also a key piece. Looking back on every championship team, having that third guy like that is much needed, and especially having that 3-point shooter that they needed, because KCP clearly wasn't working out for them. Him shooting 35% from 3, about league average, which is not what they paid him to do at all. But having a guy like Desmond Bane now that can shoot 40% from 3 and average 20 points is just much needed help for their offense, which is going to take them to another level. And for Orlando, I would have to give a grade of an A, because you finally get a shooter in Desmond Bane, which you desperately needed, and now you get an all-star in him too, third option that can score the ball, average 20 points per game, solid guy to have. I mean, his playmaking is also underrated. He can rebound the ball too. Just having another guy makes this roster even more dangerous offensively. And yeah, in the playoffs, it's going to help a lot to have another scorer on the floor and a 3-point shooter as well to help space out the floor for Orlando, which they also needed. And for Memphis, I'm going to give this probably a B, because I'm excited to see what they do with the picks. I mean, especially with the Suns and the 16th pick, because now you have the 2026 Suns pick. That's probably going to be at least a minimum, a top 10 pick. And you have another pick in this year, which is a 16th pick that belonged to Orlando. But now you get to pick and choose whether, again, you want to rebuild or you want to retool. And lastly, I mean, getting KCP and Cole Anthony, those are two trade pieces that they could trade back to other teams who are desperately in need of depth. And they could get picks back for those guys as well, especially for Cole Anthony, a young guy, point guard. They don't really need another point guard because they already have Ja Morant and Scottie Pippen Jr. So, I mean, and KCP as well on probably the last year of his deal, or maybe he has another year after this, but two trade pieces that you could probably trade for picks. And yeah, it's probably a really good trade for Memphis to do. And again, they get to really choose what they want to do for the next few years.